Okay, everybody, today is September 3rd, 2024. This is the series where I go over to r/games to keep you and me updated on everything going on in the world of video games. Let's see what we got. The very first headline I saw was on Concord. This game cannot get out of the news, it seems. An important update on Concord. So I'm thinking this must be like a quote or something. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. Let me give this a quick read, and I will let you know if there are any other important pieces of information. So that one quote did cover most of the main information, I believe, but the other thing I did see is that they are offering full game refunds as well as refunds for purchases from the digital storefront. If you have purchased the game, purchased anything within the game, but if you want to get refunded, you have that ability. They are taking the game down on September 6th. They're not selling the game anymore. My guess is, the likely thing, right, is that they will release it eventually as a free-to-play game. That's what everybody's thinking. Everybody's wondering why it wasn't free-to-play from the very beginning. It was kind of mind-boggling that they didn't start free-to-play and get as many people into the game right off the bat. If it comes back, it'll probably be a free-to-play game. The big question I also have is, will it come back at all? Remains to be seen. It probably will. They're probably going to try to get their money back somehow because they invested so much into this game, so it'll probably come back. But they're moving quick here. The game only came out a couple days ago, maybe like a week ago, and they're already taking it down, trying to rework whatever they're going to rework. So, all right, next up here we got court denies cheat seller Aim Junkies a new trial, affirms Bungie's $4.3 million win. Whoa. This is an article from Torrent Freak written by Ernesto Vandesar. Cheat seller Aim Junkies has suffered two new setbacks in its legal battle with Destiny 2 developer Bungie. The Seattle District Court refused to overturn a jury verdict issued in May and will not grant a new trial. Separately, the Court of Appeals affirmed a $4.3 million aberration award, concluding that no clear errors were made and that the scale of the award is not completely irrational. 3 years ago, Bungie filed a complaint at a federal court in Seattle accusing Destiny 2 cheat seller AimJunkies.com of copyright and trademark infringement, among other things. The same accusation was also leveled against Phoenix Digital Group, the operating company behind the website, and third-party developer James May. Wow, this is big that a court is actually backing a game developer in a lawsuit against cheat sellers. I feel like cheat software is so readily available these days. I don't think this will completely deter cheat sellers from existing, but something like this might make a person second guess whether they want to create or sell a cheat. We've just never seen a legal trial this big happening in the world of video game cheats, so I will have to do my best to follow this as news continues to happen. Next up, we have Bethesda bans Doom mod about a resurrected mech Doom Margaret Thatcher because it's apparently a bit close to real-world politics. Bethesda is known for their game mods and releasing community tools to make it actually really easy to mod their games. So that's really interesting that they're banning a mod. This is an article on PC Gamer written by Rich Stanton. Bethesda has removed the Doom mod Thatcher's tech base from its certified mod listings, apparently following a complaint from a user or users about the mod subject matter being political. Thatcher's tech base is built around attacking the hellish alt-universe layer of former UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who was in office from 1979 to 1990 and died in 2013. But has now been resurrected in the 10th Circle of Hell, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This is hilarious, but I guess I understand Bethesda not wanting it on their certified listings because it's of a political nature, but I do think it's funny, and it's a little sad that people can't just take a joke. Next up, we are excited to announce that after technical discussions with our partners at Microsoft, we can confirm that Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics will release on Xbox One. Okay, yeah, so it does seem gonna take you for a ride to an arcade, blah, blah, blah. Legendary games, all in one superhero collection, coming to Switch, PlayStation 4, and Steam. So this is on the Marvel website, and they don't have Xbox listed, so they must have announced only these three. Which funny, they only have PlayStation 4 here. They don't have PlayStation 5, but they must have only announced these and are only today announcing that it will be coming to Xbox as well. More games for more people, always good. All right, next we have Harebrained Schemes reveals horror cyberpunk RPG Graft, its first project since splitting with Paradox Interactive. This is an article from GameWatcher.com, written by Jamie Davey. Harebrained Schemes brought us the Lamplighter League and Battletech during its partnership with Paradox Interactive, but unfortunately the pair split after the poor sales performance of the former. Harebrained Schemes is indie now, and today it revealed its first game since the separation, Graft. Graft splices together survival horror with a dark, almost alien-looking cyberpunk RPG aesthetic. The game is currently in development for PC, though no release date has been announced yet. Consoles weren't mentioned, but we expect it to be developed for these platforms too. All right, well, I'm unfamiliar with Paradox Interactive and Harebrained Schemes, although I will say these games do sound familiar, but I guess it was Lamplighters League that didn't sell very well, and because of that they split. It's unfortunate whenever studios split apart or they close down or whatever because of a game not selling well, and then they just no longer exist and all those people lose their jobs. So the fact that they were able to stick around and still exist as a studio is awesome, and it's cool to see them coming out with a new game. We don't know when, but they're making a new game, they're working, they're continuing to exist, and that's what matters. Oh, interesting. Here is a full trailer for the game Graft that we talked about before. Looks like we're getting more just sort of art style. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're getting any gameplay or anything yet. We'll probably get like story as well, but just kind of getting to see some of the art from Graft. Next up, Nintendo just dropped a bunch of new details about Mario and Luigi Brothership. This is from Kotaku, written by Ethan Gatch. The weird drip feed of information about Nintendo's fall Switch lineup continues with a bunch of new details and combat trailers for Mario and Luigi Brothership. The latest entry in the long-running RPG Light Adventure series will have the titular plumbers exploring a new set of islands and using powerful new brother attacks to defeat the enemies they encounter along the way. We do have a trailer here, more information. I'm going to give this a read and then fill you in on all the important pieces of information. All right, summarizing the bullet points here, we do know the setting of the game on Connectal Land, as well as the drifting islands that exist in this world. You have like a rocky island, tourist resort, urban island, ancient island, fire and ice. They also talk about different attacks in the game where Mario and Luigi can group their normal abilities into powerful combination attacks, and then they also have brother attacks that cost brother points. So different ways that abilities can be combined and different attacks can be utilized as you gain points and unlock new abilities. Also, the main antagonist is a group of 3 called the Boldred Squad. This is a trailer that showcases one of the brother attacks. Let's give it a watch. So this is very that animation felt very Mario Party to me, them like doing the seesaw pumping action or whatever to get the lightning to come out. That was really cool. I'm sure the brother attacks will all have really cool animations like that where it just gets over the top as you do it. Oh, is this a trailer for the Mario Luigi Brothership game you were just talking about before? Let's give this a watch. Yep, that's the setting they talked about before. Okay, so maybe there's like combination things they can do for movement, not just for attacks as well. All right, so not a lot from that trailer, but getting a little bit of the art style in there and some of the traversal along with some of that other information we learned previously. All right, next up we have, scrolling down a little bit, today we have an exciting update. Duncan and Paul, alongside most other talented members of Hoopo Games, will now be working on game development directly at Valve Software. So it looks like Hoopo Games, their own studio, is going to be working with Valve Software, different development companies coming together to support each other. I'm going to look at the comments on this. see what people are saying. Most part, it looks like I'm seeing people talk about how an indie studio working with Valve means they're going to have a bigger budget. They're going to have more resources. Looks like it is a studio that has a strong following. Hoopo Games is a studio that has a strong following. They're excited to see what's possible when they partner with a big company like Valve. All right, when I was scrolling down earlier, I did see this review thread for Ace Attorney Investigations. It looks like it's getting good reviews from most everybody. 9s and 4.5s out of 5s. You got an 85 out of 5 for Monstervine. I think the worst I saw was a 7 out of 10, which, you know, that's still pretty good. This game is coming out on September 6th. All right, next up, big time. We got 22 minutes of gameplay for Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I'm not going to be able to show this whole video in my video here, but I am going to give a good chunk of it a watch and give you my reactions.
What's up, everybody? I'm Kat Bailey, and this is our extended look at Dragon Age, the Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne Bush and John Epler.
As someone who is unfamiliar with Dragon Age, I'm a little bit familiar with some of the lore and history around the game. I've never actually played the video games themselves. They seem to be talking about some sort of base building feature. This group of buildings they call the Lighthouse, and they talk about it being shaped to your personality. They don't explicitly say you will be able to build out your base. They just say that things will happen based on your personality. Very vague.
Kind of shapes itself around your companions as they live there.
What that says to me is you will make choices, you will have companions, you will decide who your team is, and then as those characters live their lives, things will change, things will happen, the area will become personalized. You can pet the griffin, apparently. They made a big point of saying that you can pet the griffin. They know their audience. I'm maybe not the best person to get reactions to new Dragon Age content, new Dragon Age announcements, just because I've never played the other games before. But one thing I'm really seeing that's interesting about the combat in this game is you have like attacks that you can combine with your companions and do sort of combined attacks with them. That if that's something that's been in the game before, they're just showing you here that you can do that in the new game. You change somebody in your team that changes the strategy up based on how you're like combining attacks and whatnot. So this was really interesting. At the beginning they talk about how they're going to be going through a mission, and so I expected to see the full mission, and you don't actually see the full mission in this video. At the very end they talk about how IGN is going to be continuing coverage on Dragon Age the Veilguard through September. So perhaps there's going to be other videos that continue this same mission, not sure. But other things we saw a lot of combat, which looks really interesting. I already kind of mentioned the fact that strategies are going to be changing up quite a lot based on who's in your party. They talked about positional attacking, where you are on the battle really matters. They talked about all the different areas having their own little history, which is really cool. You did also see how you get side missions, and you got to see a little bit of what the side missions would look like. They didn't actually go on any of those side missions. They just kind of talked to some people and got those missions to be able to do later. Definitely worth a watch if you are excited about Dragon Age. This gives you a lot more information about the story that you might be playing, a lot of the lore that plays into that story as well. All right, as we continue to scroll down, we have Shadows of the Damned Hela Remastered has been censored on consoles in Japan. Suda51 confirms. This is an article from videogamechronicles.com, written by Chris Scullion. This is information we talked about yesterday. The co-creator Shinji Mikami talked about censorship in Japan. In what we talked about yesterday, we talked about censorship from other games, but this is being released soon, and this is why he brought it up, is because this new remastered release of his game Shadows of the Damned Hela is also being censored. All right, continuing to scroll, we have Dune Awakening on Xbox Series S will be a challenge, says Funcom. It's one of the reasons we're going out on PC first. There's a lot of optimizations we need to do before we release on Xbox. But yeah, Series S is a challenge. This is just information coming out on Twitter from Shinobi602. Dune Awakening is a big game. It's an MMO. It makes sense that they're going to be focusing on PC, but it is coming out to consoles. It's coming out to PlayStation. It's coming out to Xbox. It makes sense that a big game like this would be a challenge on Series S. As far as I know, the plan is to come out for X and S, so it might just not be quite as nice looking on Series S. Maybe the graphics just won't be as high definition. All right, next we have They Don't Care About Anotria and They Don't Care About You. Jaima Games CEO blasts Xbox amidst indefinite delay. Okay, so this has been an ongoing story that this game, Anotria, the last song, is delayed indefinitely on Xbox. It is not, at this point, it is not being released on Xbox. This article comes from Jez Corden out of Windows Central. It has, as I believe, the game is being released on PC and PlayStation 5, so it is not out yet, but it was going to be released on Xbox as well, but now that release is delayed indefinitely. And it seems like the big reason it's not coming out on Xbox is because of how difficult it has been for this developer to work with Xbox. As they've said, they've been reaching out to Xbox for help, and they have not responded to their queries for 2 months. And so at this point, they just gotta say, we can't make an Xbox version because we're not getting the help we need. Really interesting to see a developer just putting the platform on blast like that. All right, as I continue to scroll down here, it looks like I am starting to see posts from yesterday. Let me keep scrolling, just make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, it looks like that is going to be it. Thank you so much for relying on me for your day-to-day video game news. If you are someone who wants to stay up to date on everything going on in the world of video games, please subscribe to my channel, click the bell so that you're notified when I release a new video. This has been September 3rd, 2024 on r/games. See you tomorrow.